What's up, everybody? It's your boy, M.I.K. Smith, also known as AK, also known as the coolest guy in sports, back with another fire stream. We are talking reactions on Caitlin Clark achieving Times Athlete of the Year. Once again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so we get this viewership up. Also, appreciate anybody that wants to follow me on AK's NBA on all the social media platforms where I talk NBA basketball and WNBA, constantly making content. Really appreciate y'all for the people that are tapping in and always engage in the comments. Truth tellers, you already know. Remember, the truth is often uncomfortable at times, but luckily that is what I'm here for. So make sure you engage, make sure you locked in. All my wizards in there. A wizard is a truth teller. That's somebody that tells the truth and sometimes even sees the truth before it even happens. Now, Sheryl Swoopes and Caitlin Clark has been a thing for, I would say, this past year. It seems like when it comes to Caitlin Clark and it comes to her greatness and everything that she has accomplished this year, Sheryl Swoopes has kind of been a hater. And there's nothing wrong with having haters because I'm going to be honest with you. LeBron James has gotten people millions of dollars and paid millions and millions of dollars for being a hater. LeBron James has gotten people paid millions of dollars and millions of dollars for being somebody that supported him in the media. So I have no problem with Sheryl Swoopes being a hater and being that person that when Caitlin Clark does something good or does something bad, she's the first person to kind of hop on the bandwagon and talk about it either way. Because at the end of the day, I've seen media members get paid for being haters and also being people that have been super fans of a particular player. But we know that Sheryl Swoopes had to comment. We know that she had to come out and talk about Caitlin Clark being Times Athlete of the Year. And some quotes that stuck out, of course, was she came out and she said that her biggest thing that she wanted to know was she questioned the criteria. Is it based off her performance on the court, which is why she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she's had on the game this season? So when you think of this 2024 season for Caitlin Clark, and this was legitimately a great question. If you watch the podcast in Gil's Arena, that's where Sheryl Swoopes was talking to Caitlin Clark. And before I get into this, also she said that she didn't think it was a surprise when they mentioned like Caitlin Clark was Times Athlete of the Year. And she was like, I'm curious to know who the other candidates were. But the fact that it's the very first WNBA player ever on the Win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, it's pretty special. And she has a great case because we do not know who was some of the candidates that were mentioned or brought up to possibly win this great award that Caitlin Clark has won and being Times Athlete of the Year and having this big moment and this great article. So we do not know that. But for us, the 2024 season, I can really say for as a athlete, a figure in sports, that is no player in the world that has had a bigger impact than Caitlin Clark this year. And when we talk about who were the other people, maybe Simone Biles, you probably could have said the swimmer for the Olympics. I don't know her name. Possibly, maybe LeBron, the Olympics was big, and Stephen Curry. Maybe even Agent Wilson, but that was just basketball. That wasn't the entire like on and off the court. So when we talk about Caitlin Clark, I definitely think that she was deserving of being Times Athlete of the Year, and it made the most sense due to her impact on and off the court. So we have Sheryl Swoopes kind of asking and questioning, like, what was the criteria, and saying that she wasn't shocked. And basically she did give credit to Caitlin Clark and said it was an incredible, pretty special accomplishment due to her being the first ever WNBA woman to appear. But for the other candidates, I don't think any other candidates, maybe I'm not aware of, had a better 2024 than Caitlin Clark. So we just got to keep it a bean. We got to keep it a stat. We got to keep it 100. Truth tellers, as you already know, that's what it's about, regardless of it makes people uncomfortable or not. But Caitlin Clark was deserving of winning the Times Athlete of the Year. And for us, like, curious to know any other candidates were, it was no other probably WNBA players. We can start right there to there. Caitlin Clark was the very first WNBA player to ever win, and deservedly so. And we go to 2024, we talk about everything that she's impacted. And Sheryl Swoopes was kind of asking, was it on the court, off the court? It doesn't really matter which one it was. So we look at, if we talk about off the court, if we talk about on the court, we talk about the viewership, the eyes on the game that Caitlin Clark brought to the WNBA this particular season, increasing viewership, increasing sales, merchandise, away and home games were sold out when Caitlin Clark was playing. And we talk about the WNBA being ranked as the fastest growing brand of 2024. When we talk about Caitlin Clark being the most viewed for its player pages across all American states, she was bigger and more viewed than for like a sports page, bigger than LeBron James. So we talk about all these things in 2024. It's no bigger athlete that's had a bigger impact than Caitlin Clark, and also her generating millions of dollars for a particular city. That's something unheard of. And we just base things off of 2024 alone. It's not just what she's done in the WNBA, it's what she did this year in college as well. So we talk about the scoring milestones, becoming the all-time leading scorer in NCAA women's basketball history, surpassing the previous records. That was important. I think she's the all-time leading scorer in all men and women's side. Like, she set the triple-double record in NCAA as well, most career triple-doubles. Three-point shooting, broke the single-season record for most three-pointers made in NCAA history. Championship-level success. Led Iowa to their first, one of their first, I think, Final Four appearances. So she's done a lot of great things. And then we get into the WNBA side. Rookie of the Year, she was unanimous. Key is WNBA Rookie of the Year as well, which is different. Assist leader as a rookie, averaging 8.4 per game as a rookie. Single game milestone. She became the first WNBA rookie to record at least 30 points and 10 assists in a single game. So it's just then we talk about the versatility of some of her records and the things that she has done, and also her post-Olympic surge when they were talking about, does she really deserve to be a part of the Olympics team? Her being left off the team was because she didn't go through the process. She's not better than the players. All these different things, when in fact the reality, those were narratives and things that were being pushed out. But we saw her take that in stride, and she talked about it and mentioned it in the article, and felt how it was disrespectful to include her to be a spectacle, but also it was disrespectful to her because she felt like she deserved to be there, and she wanted to be there off her game and not to just bring viewership and eyes to the game. Well, that post-Olympic surge, after the Paris Olympic break, she averaged 24 points and 9 assists across 10 games. So, and helping the Indiana Fever secure their first ever playoff berth since 2015 or 2016? So when we talk about the entire year for Caitlin Clark, it's not just what's happened on the court, it's what's happened off the court. And she's done a remarkable job this season. She's definitely deserving of it. So when Sheryl Swoopes says I'm curious about the criteria, was it on and off the court? You can pick on the court, off the court, but it was both, to be honest. But you can pick whichever one you want to go. If you're talking about on the court and on the court dominance, then it's Caitlin Clark. If you're talking about off the court and impact, it's Caitlin Clark. So we got to give credit where credit is due. And it's just very important to – now let me see if I can find the video. Let's pull it up. What Sheryl Swoopes was saying.
Caitlin Clark has been named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. So the award, which has been distributed since 2019, Clark becomes the first WNBA player to ever win this award.
Chat.
We see the album cover, or excuse me, the magazine cover. I'm here fucking up. Look like an album cover, with the baggy pants. But Sheryl, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to Caitlin Clark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year?
He's asking Sheryl Swoopes the question.
I don't think I'm surprised.
Oops.
I'm curious to know who the other candidates were, but the fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
I'm sure a mix of both. Obviously, WNBA saw record viewership numbers across the board. Her team's played in a lot of those games.
No, I think it's great, not just for her. I think it's great for the league.
Yeah.
And there's another part we're going to talk about. And she basically just came out and said that, like, she gave, once again, it was one of those things where you can make a case that the things that Sheryl Swoopes said, she wasn't surprised. She said it was very impressive and things of that nature, but then also, like, she's kind of questioned the validity of the criteria a little bit. Is it more about impact? Is it more about on and off the court? So you can tell it's a little bit of, I'm not going to say, I don't think she's really being a hater. I've seen her be a hater. I've seen Sheryl Swoopes be a hater this year when it comes to Caitlin Clark. But you can tell it's a little like, okay, yeah. But what's the validity of this criteria? Was there any other WNBA players up for? Was it any other players who was on the polling to be selected and things of that nature? Now let's continue. Because then she talked about also,
right? Like everybody talked about the recognition.
Then they start talking about for
W this season. So for her to be Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, I think it's really great for the league.
So in the Time article, Clark had a strong quote acknowledging her privilege.
Reading the quote.
Here's what she said.
Right now.
I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. So, yeah, when you hear Caitlin say that, because Caitlin, obviously, in the media, has been very,
She has a great marketing team.
It's been a lot of things with the WNBA.
I'm just hoping.
She's trying to stay at the barbecue, goddamn, because,
Gil's kind of stepping up.
She was invited to the bar.
Not saying much.
She got the cookout. But when you hear that, thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is.
And here we go. Sheryl is just like.
Okay. So what's the since it's 2019, right? I mean,
and she doesn't say anything.
It was 5 years. Mm-hmm. So
what?
Who's 2000?
So, and that's when things got a little interesting and a little weird, I'm going to say. And I'm here to tell you that I want to say this and get this off because I support Caitlin Clark because the way she carries herself, because of what she does on the basketball court, most importantly. And it was a time this year where some people's support was contingent on them believing that Caitlin Clark was supporting their political views. And I'm here to say you're not a fan of her in the first place, if that's what your support was contingent on. Because the political stuff, the Angel Reese fan base, and the whole everything trying to make things into a race war, none of that is important. None of that should have ever been brought into the conversation of Caitlin Clark, conversation of Angel Reese being a rookie. None of that stuff really, truly matters. But Caitlin Clark having to come out and basically, again, talk about like, well, I feel like I deserve everything, but also these things are important. And it just goes to show that, like, yes, we know white privilege exists. As a black man, I definitely know that. I've witnessed that. I've seen that. And it's understandable. But the thing about certain things is like, you can't cry about everything. You can't always talk about things that are not maybe going in to your favor and things of that nature, I think the best thing you can do, if anybody can do, is put the work in, trust in God, have faith, and keep on trying on a daily basis. Whether you're white, black, red, pink, purple, rainbow, whatever the case may be, because sure, there's things that are going to favor other people because of systems, because of institutionalized racism, because of the 400 years of heartbreak, pain, and suffering that Black Americans went through. But at the same time, for as Caitlin Clark, her playing basketball, and like, I don't see how like that quote that she said, if I was Caitlin Clark, I really would have said that. But at the end of the day, she has a great marketing team. And at the end of the day, she has to be politically correct. And this is coming from a Black man, but I just don't feel like it was a need for her to sit up and say that, like, how can she help Black women elevate and things of that nature. The best thing that Caitlin Clark can do for the game and for the WNBA is continue to be great on the basketball court, continue to push the envelope and be the standard for performance, which is going to allow more money, more sponsorships, more accolades, more attention, more everything, endorsement deals to come to the league and for people to witness the greatness of all these other women athletes. But at the same time, it gets to a point where I'm tired of hearing about it. And Caitlin Clark is a class act. She's always going to say the right things. She's always going to kind of keep it 100 and keep it a stack. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like enough is enough. You know, I appreciate what she's trying to do, and I think what she's trying to say is very important and beautiful. But at the same time, I think it's like she's earned everything that she has gotten. She's earned that through the game, through her play, through her working hard, through her coming up from a young lady to the high school to the college rate. Like, basketball is a sport where, to be a white person and to dominate and to come in and to thrive, you got to be a cold MF. Like, you got to be extremely good. You got to be extremely skilled, because you're coming into a sport where it is dominated by Black women and Black men. It is a sport that most Black individuals are great at. So when you're a white person coming into this sport and you're dominating, you cold, and it's just like, yo, you're extremely tough. You're extremely gifted. You're extremely like about that life. And Caitlin Clark is about that life, where she is the coldest white hooper I've probably ever seen outside of Deanna Taurasi, of course. But like, of course, there's other white hoopers and things of that nature. But you know how cold you really got to be. So I think that it's great what Caitlin Clark is saying. It's great what Caitlin Clark is trying to promote, but it's right. Like, what can she really do? But by only things that she really can do is the kid continue to dominate and to continue to have all eyes glued in on the WNBA and using the things that like her popularity to let other people know how great the WNBA is, how great women's basketball is. And that's why what she said, like in the Times magazine, how the biggest impact that she has had is she's brought so many eyes to women's sports, and let alone women's basketball, and people have become fans of the sport. That's the biggest thing that she can use her popularity for. And I don't necessarily think it's just like, you know, quote unquote white privilege, and we know white privilege exists, but I really believe that, like, yes, Caitlin Clark, if she was the first of her kind and she was a Black woman and as dominated and cold as she was and bringing a new play style to the game of basketball, I think that people will be locked in and people will be glued in, because right now we got one of the coldest Black women, young athletes playing at USC, and people are locked in, people are engaged, and she's supposed to be just as big as Caitlin Clark and potentially not bigger. when she enters the WNBA for it's like the game and for it's like the marketability and also her signing big time endorsement deals already. So the truth of the matter is, and Stephen Boyd says she is better than them, and they know the truth of the matter. She is better than them when it comes to the game of basketball, when it comes to what she's doing on the basketball court, and she's competing to be the best. And basketball is a very competitive game. It's a competitive sport. And of course, you have people that have come before the players now. And some of these old heads like the Sheryl Swoopes, the Charles Barkleys, the Shaquille O'Neals, they may feel a type of way about certain things for his contracts, for his popularity, for his endorsement deals and things of that nature that they may not have received, and they were great at their time. But at the end of the day, it's like you don't get to choose what era you play in. You don't get to choose what era you're born in. You don't get to choose a lot of things that happens to you. You just kind of got to roll with the punches and try to succeed and put your best foot forward. And I think that's what Caitlin Clark is doing. But I feel like she's a class act. She says the right things. But at some point, if I was Caitlin Clark, couldn't nobody tell me that, like, I'm going to come out and I'm going to say, like, yes, I believe that I deserve everything. And I know in my damn heart that I didn't work my ass off and I didn't busted my ass and I didn't grind it. But then I'm going to sit up and say, like, oh, well, yeah, it's my responsibility to try to do this, try to do this, try to do that, and to use my white privilege to help bring more eyes on the game, which she's already doing. So it's just like, I just don't feel like she needed to say that, to be honest, because it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because the best thing she could do is just play basketball and hoop, because people are going to be mad if she says something, because they're going to say, well, it's not enough, or people are going to be mad if she did say something because they say, oh, she doesn't say anything, she doesn't speak out. But the truth of the matter, when we talk about basketball, she's there because of she's great. She's there because of her game. She's there because of her skill set. She's there because she's worked her ass off, and she's really became the chosen one for the WNBA. I'm sorry, it's what it is. She's the chosen one for the WNBA for the game, play style, marketability, bring the game to the new heights. That's just what it is. So it is what it is. I don't think it's like we're talking about a sport. We're not talking about corporate America. We're not talking about nepotism. We're not talking about where it's no diversity, inclusion. They're trying to get rid of those things. We're talking about the game, basketball. That would be something totally different. We're talking about a different careers and different avenues where, yes, there is more white privilege. Yes, there is more racism against blacks and people of color. Yes, it is harder for people to break through doors and get opportunities compared to their counterparts, because things are kind of not set up for them to have success, or things at the top is so one-dimensional that it is hard. But at the end of the day, it's like we're talking about basketball. We're talking about a league that's dominated majority by women, black women, and black men, which means it's very hard, and you got to be extremely cold and gifted as a white person to come and dominate the sport. That's why Larry Bird was so lethal. It was a cold-ass white boy. That's what Magic Johnson was talking about. That's why Caitlin Clark is so cold. That's why Luka Doncic is so cold. Now, I can understand why some people may feel like the media darling aspect, or people feel like, well, you know, her being viewed as this quote-unquote savior of the league, or this person viewed as a savior of the league and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when your game is cold, when your game speaks for itself, then everything else is just going to come naturally, whether you're white or you're black. So I can understand when Gilbert's reading us a podcast, why it was awkward and things of that nature, why Sheryl Swoopes ain't really say anything, because it's just like, from a black person, it's just like, it's really nothing you can really do. And sometimes black people don't like hearing a white person kind of say that, because it does come off as a savior complex. Like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to, you know, it's my, like, it feels like it's your civil duty to do some of these things, which is not. And that's why I say, like, sometimes she has a great marketing team, because she's going to give people what they want to hear. But at the same time, it's just kind of like sometimes it's just better to acknowledge, like, yes, I worked hard. Yes, I'm gifted. Yes, I'm talented. Yes, I'm blessed to play in this league. I know the responsibility that I have to all fans, to all people, and I'm going to continue to get better each and every day. Because at the end of the day, she put the work in and she's gotten everything that she's deserved due to her play style and the product that she produces on the basketball court. And once again, this is uncomfortable conversations, but the truth is often uncomfortable. But luckily, that's what I'm here for. And Jack says she is the one. She is the one. She's the chosen one. She's the chosen. We haven't seen a chosen one since LeBron James. And I said this in several streams. Every 20 years, we have a transcending talent enter different leagues. And right now, we're seeing this transcendent talent be in the WNBA. It's going to take the WNBA to new heights and reach a level that most people don't think the WNBA could possibly reach. And that's okay. And you're going to get a lot of haters. You're going to get a lot of people saying different things. You're going to get Sheryl Swoopes coming out and always commentating on the good and when she has a bad game, when she says this, when she does that. Like, that's fine because haters pushes the product. Skip Bayless, all those years, pushes the product. Him constantly talking and hating on LeBron James. Yes, he was seen as a hater, but he pushes the product. It's good for the game. Love, hate, all eyes on the game is good. So it's part of sports. It's a part of life. Controversy, there's no such thing as bad controversy when it comes to sports, when we're talking about just focusing on the product of the game and getting people to watch the game and the viewership of the game and increasing all those things. Because the thing about it is people going to watch the WNBA because they love Caitlin Clark. People going to watch the WNBA because they want to see Caitlin Clark fail, or they hate Caitlin Clark, similar to LeBron James, similar to Michael Jordan, similar to Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid. Like, that's sports. Sports is competitive. That's why I don't feel like anybody should feel any type of way with Sheryl Swoopes being a hater. But just come out in a minute and say it. Like, it is what it is. That the game is the game. And I appreciate y'all for tapping in. It's your boy, Mike K. Smith. Make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe. And also follow me on AKIS NBA, where I'm talking always NBA and WNBA basketball, making a lot of great content. And for those who are new here, I worked in the sports industry for almost a decade. Recently served as a talent for Slam, where I was on one of the first ever basketball podcasts. Worked in the NBA in basketball analytics. Kind of doing my independent thing right now. Appreciate any support. Also, if you got a niece, you got a nephew, you got a son, a daughter. I also am a children's author as well. I have 2 books on Amazon. Becoming Basketball, also Becoming Kobe Bryant, and also Becoming Kobe Bryant is on Barnes & Noble and Walmart.com. Once again, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not into your own understanding, for always acknowledge his ways and he will direct your path. Appreciate y'all. The Wizard is out.